What's going on? How's everyone doing?
Shout out to Colin. Everybody else who's cool with Colin.
Chunky! I didn't say.
Get your popcorn and your Coca-Cola and relax.
Anyway, tell Colin I'm ready.
What's going on? This is Colin. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you guys are having a great day. Yeah, I know. 2 lives in one day. I am still going live at my normal time tonight. I just wanted to put this one out here. Got a sob sit. Judge Clark, sob sit. It's always a fun time. Now, this sob sit has tamed down a little bit. And I was gonna clip a little small piece together with what he said in court, but no, he does it for us. The prosecutor does it for us. We don't even have to. They show it. So we start with the motion to suppress. Then we go into jury selection, which, it goes about as well as you think it's going to go. All right, before I hit that play button, you know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe to your Jump Kick Backflips. Let's go.
You said to pick a jury this morning. You represented yourself. Do you wish to continue to represent yourself?
Yes, sir.
Colin?
Just trying to move forward.
I know we have one other issue we need to take up prior to picking a jury.
Yes, Judge. I anticipate trying this case on Friday.
So when we like to hear it.
I'm supposed to have that today, Your Honor.
Whenever Your Honor first.
Which
Your Honor, I don't plan on calling a witness. The officer that I was going to call testified during the adversary preliminary hearing that we had previously in this case. The issues or
UMG. It is really actually. I'm happy that you're here because this sovereign citizen is trying to. Well, he's not trying to. He actually calls an officer a liar and tries. This is what this whole suppression thing's about. I would love your opinion on how this goes. I mean, we all kind of know how it goes, but just, to have your opinion would be great.
I guess the testimony that I would need to elicit was already elicited, so I plan on introducing the blue man, the testimony from that hearing.
The officer committed a crime.
This is Florida. All right, I'm going to let it play for a little bit, but yeah, it's Florida. It's Bay County, Florida. It's that weird area in Florida that's actually an hour ahead of us. They're in the central time zone, somewhere in that area. But this is Judge Clark. All right, let's go. UMG, if you want to jump up on panel for this part, I you're more than welcome.
Perjury. I put that up with the court, and that'd be a violation of due process. I'd like to re-eject my motion to discharge.
That's already been denied. I filed that order already. Mr. Beecham, do you have clothes? Does anybody bring you any clothes?
No, sir.
I don't have any clothes for you, so you understand you have a right to be dressed out in regular clothes.
Yes, sir.
You representing yourself. Have you made any arrangements to have anybody bring you any clothes?
No, sir.
Okay. So what, are you prepared to go to trial in I guess basically your uniform from the jail?
I'm prepared to go to trial, Your Honor, but right now you said that we're supposed to be having the motion to suppress today, and he was trying to get the witness, so.
He's not gonna call the witness, he's gonna file the transcript.
Okay, is your motion to discharge still under advisement right now?
I denied that motion. You should have got the order.
Yeah, but you said you was putting it under advisement the day after.
I've got an order already. I entered an order to do that. You should have got a copy of it. Matter of fact, you'll print a copy of that order to deny motion dismissed. That was filed, I guess it was filed on Thursday.
Yeah, the dismissal, but you're under advisement of the discharge.
Yeah, I denied that, sir.
Okay.
All right. And what I'm asking is, are you prepared to go forward?
Yeah, I'm prepared to go forward. I'm gonna put in another motion.
Okay. All right.
you want to do the motion to suppress? I'm just going to introduce the disconnect evidence, and then I got a brief argument, or do you want to wait, Your Honor?
Just wait for a second.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm speaking, you have a seat. Down, you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so what just happened there is Judge Clark asked, this sub said, you're representing yourself. You did not make any arrangements to wear any different clothes. It's a big deal because looks are important, right? First impressions are important. And that's why, they don't let they don't let defendants wear their prison uniforms when they're in court. I didn't know that it was that the defense attorney had to actually get the guy some clothes. I kind of just thought, the jail took care of that, the court took care of that. I have no idea. But yeah, it's something that your defense has to do. And yeah, you learn something every day. Now this is Florida. And I don't know if Florida is different, but this guy representing himself did not get anyone to get him some actual street clothes. So yeah. Anyways, first up, motions to suppress. This is where we're going right now.
Beecham, just wait to come back up and call your case, and we'll have the motion to suppress. I've reviewed the motion to suppress.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would introduce the motion hearing of the defendant's motion for adversary preliminary hearing. Ask the court to take judicial notice essentially the testimony of that hearing. Okay. Judge, that video, that testimony is about 11 minutes long. What you'll hear, the motion to suppress that the defendant filed here is essentially based on an illegal stop. The crux of his argument is that he was driving. He did not cause any safety or issues to any of the cars, that he was the only car on the road. And he cites a bunch of case law here related to that issue. What you'll hear in that hearing, when I'm directing the officer, he states that the reason for the basis of the traffic stop was a failure to maintain lane. He doesn't elaborate on that very much until the defendant cross-examines him. On cross-examination, the officer testifies that the defendant actually crossed over the yellow center line. And that's important. I've got some case law that I'm going to pass up, and I've got copies from Mr. Beecham as well. Lomax v. State, and that is 148 Southern 3rd 119 first DCA. That case deals with this exact issue, and the first DCA held that crossing the center line is a traffic infraction, and that alone is enough for an officer to stop the vehicle. And Mr. Beecham, there's a copy of that case for you as well. Now, in Mr. Beecham's motion to suppress, he briefly touches on it, and I know he's made some arguments to the court about it before. I don't know that it's entirely the basis for his motion to suppress, but I'm just to address it. He makes a mention that because of the change in hemp laws in Florida, that there's no longer probable cause based on the smell of marijuana because of the change to the hemp laws. That contention, however, is just simply incorrect. And I'm handing him two more cases that I'll pass up to the court. The first is Owens v. State, 317 Southern 3rd 1218. And the second is Colin v. State, 331 Southern 3rd 1240. The Owens case is a second district court opinion, and the Colin case is a first DCA opinion. The first DCA opinion is a brief affirmed C and then cites to the second DCA opinion. In that case, the second DCA said that the change to the medical marijuana laws and the hemp laws does not change the fact that the smell of marijuana, despite that it could potentially still be hemp, does not change the basis and the ability for law enforcement officer to search a vehicle.
You'll hear them. He is charged with, the normal stop stick crimes of, but those aren't the important ones. So, the trio, the driver's license, insurance, whatever. But the big ones that he's actually doing the jury trial for are the possession charges. So he had, was it cocaine and I want to say meth maybe. And one of them is actually a trafficking charge. So I think he had 16 grams of meth that made it a trafficking charge. So it's a felony. And then he just has minor possession of cocaine. I think that's what is going on for the jury. He's arguing that he didn't have, the police officer didn't have a legal reason to stop him. he's also saying that it wasn't his. So the actual court rule of possession comes into play here because the person in the car, he's essentially throwing his passenger under the bus and saying, no, that was the passenger had all that stuff. You'll hear that in a little bit, especially when they're talking to the jury.
Mr. Beecham, you understand at any point in these proceedings, you have a right to be represented by an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, one may be appointed to represent you at any time. Do you wish to consider to continue to represent yourself?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. If you were to play that tape, you would see where Officer Ziff only stated, I swerved a few times. And I tried to get that transcript. He only wrote in his narrative later or whatever that something about me crossing the double yellow center lane. Also, there's no competent substantial evidence that I did that. And the actual video footage of the actual traffic stop, I am actually challenging that from the exception of the stop because it didn't happen. And, along with his allegation, that he did commit perjury, along with the fact of him saying that I smoked marijuana, he also lied about the traffic stop. He never called the stop in. The CAD report proves that. When you got a copy of the CAD report, it shows that I initiated the CAD by calling 911. He never had a basis to actually stop the vehicle. And in that video, the tape that he just gave you, that if it was transcribed, it would clearly show that he said I swerved a few times. He never mentioned crossing the center lane in that hearing.
Let's go ahead and play the tape.
Yes, Your Honor, and if I can have the screens, I've got it queued up and ready to go.
Mr. Beecham, if you'd like, you can continue to stand there if you'd like to have a seat.
All right, yeah, this is a motion to suppress. He's trying to get this police officer's testimony thrown out. So he's trying to suppress all the evidence that the police officer has, which, if it's granted, the state doesn't have a case. And so that's what he's trying to do. Not a bad idea on the defense side. He just doesn't have a basis to do it. Sorry, spoiler alert. He's a soft state. He doesn't know what he's doing. But that's what's going on right now. This is right before the jury selection. He is trying to, get this officer's testimony thrown out.
And Your Honor, I do want to address one issue that Mr. Beecham has raised. The officer in the hearing does state to Mr. Beecham that Mr. Beecham admitted to smoking marijuana. Mr. Beecham then confronts him and says, I admitted to smoking hemp. And the officer says, no, you admitted to smoking marijuana. Mr. Beecham is correct. That is, the officer's assertion is incorrect. The body cams do show that interaction when the officer first approached Mr. Beecham, and Mr. Beecham did in fact say he smoked hemp.
So that officer did commit perjury in that setting because the body cam procedure and rules said that he had a chance to look at that before he made any statements or written or.
Just because he had the chance doesn't mean he did, Your Honor. But
to follow the statutes of the body cameras, I think, don't you think so, Your Honor?
sir, right here.
Yeah. Mr. Beecham, you're before the court today, your adversarial, hearing, you're representing yourself. At any point in time, you can ask an attorney to be appointed to represent you. Do you understand?
All right, for anyone that's just joining, they are playing the video. And this actually messed with my head because we're watching them watch this video and everyone's kind of dressed the exact same. But you're seeing lips move on the video and not in person. Yeah, this is a video. They're replaying the video that happened about a month ago. I actually did cover this. I remember this because this is where we realized that this guy's a sovereign citizen, and because he quotes or he cites the Florida, what is it? The Treaty of Florida. Yeah. All right, let's go. Let's watch this video. It's only like 5 minutes long.
Do you still wish to represent yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Sullivan, you can call your first witness.
The city police officer is Zip. Richard Zip.
All right. Just swear the witness in.
I did.
You state your name for the record, please.
Richard Zip.
Were you employed?
Yeah, Palisade Police Department.
Were you working in November of 2023?
I was.
On November 11th, 2023, did you have occasion to contact with defendant Josiah Beecham?
I was.
How did you come in contact with him?
It was an investigative stop. Mr. Beecham's vehicle was having a hard time maintaining its lane. I conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle. Vehicle drove over the curb. Immediately when I stopped the vehicle, I could smell marijuana coming from within the vehicle while still sitting inside my own vehicle. As I got closer to the vehicle, I could smell the marijuana getting stronger. When I made contact with Mr. Beecham in the driver's seat, I informed him the nature of the stop, also told him I smelled marijuana in the vehicle. At that point, Mr. Beecham was saying I was violating the Treaty of Florida, making other statements that he was not driving, he was traveling. And at one point, I asked him to identify himself. He refused to identify himself. He began to call 911 and requested a Bay County deputy respond to the scene because he refused to cooperate with me.
Officer Zip, at some point, based on the smell of marijuana, did you search the vehicle and Mr. Beecham's person?
I did.
During that search, did you locate anything of note, of significance?
We found trafficking amounts of controlled substances. I believe they were, one of them tested positive for cocaine. There was marijuana and we believe fentanyl.
Did you find any firearms during the search?
There was a firearm located underneath the driver's seat that Mr. Beecham was sitting on.
Did you run a criminal records check on Mr. Beecham?
We did.
Did you find out whether he had been previously convicted of any felonies?
He was on inmate release as for a felony. I believe the same charges.
That's all my question this time.
Mr. Beecham, any questions?
Yes. So did I have a passenger in the car with me at the time?
You did.
Upon you saying you smell the smell of marijuana, did I say that I smoke hemp?
You did admit to it.
I said I smoke hemp, right?
You smoked marijuana.
Sir, did you have on a body cam?
I did.
And okay, thank you, Your Honor. So I said, so your body cam was on at the time, and did you get any competent basis on the traffic stop as far as like a recording of that video?
I don't have a dash cam.
You don't have a dash cam in your car?
We don't have dash cams in Palisade police cars.
That's cool. And I was failing to maintain the lane. Okay, was there any other traffic on the road?
You were the only vehicle.
Okay, and how long were you behind me before you actually pulled me over?
I was behind you about 2 blocks, watched you drift over the center line several times.
Several times, drift over the line. Did you have to catch up to me when I have a dash cam, a rear view cam? I'm probably gonna introduce the what you call it. Did you actually have to catch up to my vehicle, or?
I did not have to catch up that much. I was right behind you.
I'm saying that the stretch of the road was, we was traveling on Beach Drive, that's right?
Yes.
And you were behind me the entire stretch of Beach Drive?
No, I was behind you by Balboa.
By Balboa is when you got behind me. Okay, and so when did you notify me or the passenger about any of the drugs or guns?
Immediately.
Immediately? And what was said about the drugs or guns? What did the passenger say?
The gun was found after you were already detained. We searched the vehicle and it was underneath your seat.
Okay, and was the vehicle registered to me?
It was registered to your girlfriend.
Okay. And so where were the drugs or anything found in the vehicle?
You had drugs in your pocket. And there's also drugs in the back seat behind your seat.
And you found the drugs?
I found a bag of white substance in your right front pocket.
What about any vehicles in the car?
There was a bag in behind the driver's seat that had several other bags that were wrapped in a clear plastic baggies that was behind your seat.
Okay, and so what what did you question the passenger on?
That would be my partners who questioned the passenger. I questioned you.
Yes, and what did I admit to any of the drugs?
You refused to talk to me other than saying I was violating the Treaty of Florida.
Exactly. So you notified me on drugs being found in the car on the scene, you're saying?
Everything was notified to you. I tried reading implied consent. You refused to actually listen to me. You kept on saying I was violating the Treaty of Florida and you.
Yeah, I was saying you was violating constitutional rights as well. Unreasonable search and seizure. Because I never really got a direct quote on why you actually stopped the vehicle.
His whole body came up.
Okay. And so you never had a conversation with the passenger?
I was mostly talking to you, searching the vehicle. I believe my sergeants wanted to talk to Mr. Wheeler.
Okay, and so you're saying your passenger, your other one of your partners found the drugs that was actually in the car?
I found drugs in the vehicle.
Oh, you found the drugs in the vehicle?
Yes.
Behind the driver's seat, you're saying?
That's an answer, Your Honor.
So sustain the objection. Ask your next question.
Okay. You did already admit that I said I admitted to smoking him. Okay, and your vehicle is not, you say they don't got dash cams. Okay, so at the time, did you have a sight on the passenger and the driver at the whole time?
I was right there behind the A pillar or B pillar.
What was that, sir?
I was there the entire time talking to you.
No, I'm saying, okay, so when you extracted me out of the car, did you have eyes on the passenger at that time?
After I removed you from the car, I did not have eyes on the passenger, just you.
Okay, cool. And so in your report, you never wrote a ticket for the failure to maintain lanes, nor did you mention it in your affidavit or complaint.
It's going to be in my report, the narrative on the case.
Well, this was the probable cause, and this was the immediate review. So is it,
Sustained. Ask a question.
okay. Is it a reason why you didn't mention it?
All right, real quick. Yeah, I've got this set up to raid Biggin after this. I did that on purpose. I wanted to do this a little earlier, but you know what? Biggin raids me all the time, and I don't raid him, so I set it up to raid Biggin. Also, Bob. Thanks, Bob.
In your affidavit or complaint?
The affidavit only shows PC for why we arrested you. It doesn't state in there why I had to stop you. It just shows in there why I arrested you. And
Yes, sir. One for Thursday and one for Friday. Okay, we'll start off with, Lambert, this is Thursday, and we'll just bring us maybe 30 jurors up.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We have a couple of civils going on, so we'll have some just moving back and forth.
Okay.
But we have enough to shuffle them around.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thursday and Friday?
Thursday and Friday.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So,
I'll do excuses up here.
yes, so we're doing I've sworn them in and gone through the statutory qualifications, but just the hardship excuses.
Are you doing them in here
We
now?
do this, doing it at 30.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, for anyone confused, that had nothing to do with this case. They were talking about the order of which they were going to bring the jury in. Like I said, they're doing the motion to suppress before they bring the jury in. And he brought in two different juries for two different cases. The soft sit had his jury selection second. So that was just guessing some kind of court officer, maybe an attorney, trying to figure out how they're going to bring the jury in. But yeah, that wasn't meant to confuse you. I should have cut that out, though.
in regards to maintaining a lane, that goes back to the D.
Rachel, good to see you. Good to see you. And see, I told you, you're not blocked. You're not blocked. You were never blocked. But it is really good to see you, Rachel.
Y, which does not go on the complaint. That goes on the traffic ticket.
Well, you never mentioned anything of that nature in the ticket, so I was just wondering, is that protocol for you not to explain in the affidavit of complaint?
It's gonna be in the report.
Okay, you say you had a body camera on it. That's correct.
Sustain the objection. Ask your next question.
Okay, so was it possible for any of the drugs to be the passenger?
It was all in your control. It was within your reach, behind your seat, and then in the, you had drugs in your right front pocket. Could be possible, but the same drug that was in your right front pocket was also in that bag behind your seat.
What drug was in my right front pocket?
Cocaine.
And about how much was that?
You had a bag that was wrapped in your front pocket.
About how much?
I don't have the numbers on you right now. I have my report in front of me.
Okay. This is a copy of the report.
That's actually not my report. That's the affidavit complaint. My report's about 5 pages long.
Okay. And so you ceased the vehicle for failing to maintain the lane. You said, was any other traffic affected by the occurrence?
You were on the road, you had failed to maintain your lane several times and drove over the curb.
What curve actually?
The curb I stopped you at, I believe, was on Fairland.
Okay. Well, at this time, I don't have any more questions.
Okay, did any redirect from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Can the witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you can go about your day.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, as I stated earlier, you heard the question that was asked by Mr. Beecham, and the officer said that he observed Mr. Beecham cross over the center line several times.
The officer made false statements and accusations, and I was challenging him from the beginning in the actual video, and that's why I asked for him to call the sheriff or his supervisor. Nor did he make a traffic CAD report for any traffic infraction that happened, nor did he ever write a ticket for the actual alleged offense that supposedly took place for him to seize the vehicle.
Well, I consider the motion, the testimony I've already heard before. I'm going to deny the motion at some rest of this time. I'll follow it up with a written order. And I'm going to go another call from you as far as representing yourself. What do you plan on trying out of this information?
I've got an amended information. The state will be moving forward with trafficking of methamphetamine, 14 grams or more, in possession of cocaine.
Let, Mr. Well, go ahead and file that. Madam Clerk, if you go ahead and get Mr.
All right, someone needs to explain to me something. The attorney who's in the middle of the well, we can hear a lot clearer than we can hear Judge Clark. I don't understand that. Judge Clark used to be crystal clear. I even raised the volume on this because he was so quiet. I raised the volume, which is why we got that kind of weird feedback on that video we just watched. But yeah. Oh, you know what I have not done? Bad Scooter, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. I did not thank you yet. Thank you so much. And welcome to all the 5 new members. Thank you so much, Bad Scooter. You're awesome.
Each of them a copy of that. Mr. Beecham, go ahead and swear Mr. Beecham in real quick. And I'm just going to ask you a few questions about,
Oh, swear. That's my religion.
I'm going to ask you to affirm.
Would you raise your right hand? Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yeah.
All right, sir, state your name.
Josiah Beecham.
Mr. Beecham, you understand we're getting ready to pick a jury on trafficking, was it trafficking of methamphetamine? Mr. Scott, simple possession of cocaine?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what was the third charge?
Just those two.
Those two. So the trafficking of methamphetamine is a first degree felony, I believe, punishable with 30 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. It's 14 grams or more. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So that's a 3-year minimum mandatory or 7? 3-year minimum mandatory. You're also charged with possession of cocaine, which is a 3rd degree felony, punished with 5 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. You made the decision to represent yourself, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I know I've done this with you before, but I want to do it again. You understand that attorneys are trained in the rules of evidence, criminal procedure, and the law, and they're there to assist you during, or try the case, assist you during trial. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that if you try your case, you pick your jury, you'll be held to that same standard.
Yes, sir.
Okay. that the state nor I can give you any assistance,
Yes, sir.
and that you understand what the penalties that you're looking at. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And then we're gonna pick a jury this morning, and then we'll try the case on Friday. You understand that?
We're picking the jury today.
Sir, we'll pick the jury today.
Okay.
And then they'll come back Friday morning, we'll try the case. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you still wish to represent yourself?
Yes, sir. I can have, assistant counsel for any, motions for, appealable issues.
Well, I don't do that. I don't.
Oh, it's okay. Then I'll just go with myself.
But at any point in time, you can ask an attorney to.
It's all good. I
represent
can represent myself,
you.
sir.
And then if you are convicted, you're still right, you'll have a right to be represented by an attorney. At any stage of these proceedings, you can ask for an attorney. I haven't, done a backup attorney. Now, you're not dressed out appropriately for court. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
That you have a right to wear, basically civilian clothes.
Will I have a right to face the, actual officer in trial?
You'll be able to face whoever the state, it's the state's obligation to prove the case.
Okay.
Whoever the witnesses they call, you have a right to cross-examine, but basically, you don't have a right to tell the state who to call. If that makes any sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but he also has the right to call witnesses. So I don't get that. He has the right to call his own witnesses. So if he can file the paperwork to subpoena the officer. Now, if the state doesn't, if the state doesn't, I mean, there's no reason why the state wouldn't do it, right? The person that arrested him, the person that pulled him over, the person that hinges that this case is based off of, they're going to call him. But yeah, the misleading kind of information from Judge Clark right there, I'm not a big fan of. He does have the right to call, but he should have already filled out the paperwork. I mean, his jury starts on Friday. It starts in 3 days.
So, will the state be calling the officer as a witness?
Yes.
So, you'll be addressing the allegation of perjury as well? You'll be aiding and abetting the perjury?
Judge, I would, I guess at this point, move in limine to preclude the defendant from using that term. If there's an inconsistent statement, he's more than welcome to impeach him properly. But the term perjury is highly inflammable. There's no allegation that the officer committed a crime. So I would ask that the defendant be precluded from using that term throughout this proceeding.
I have placed the allegation on the court record.
I'm gonna grant the motion in limine. You certainly can cross-examine the state's witness, vigorously. You can point out any inconsistencies in the statements of the witness. Please use the word perjury, but you certainly have that right to argue to the jury any inconsistencies in the witness's statements. Okay. And they get to and there'll be a jury instruction that they get to consider any inconsistent statements that a witness has made, or any prior inconsistent statements the witness has made.
Well, what about my allegation of perjury, the crime that the officer committed?
I'm not gonna allow you to use that word in front of the jury, but you can certainly cross-examine, and you can certainly point out any inconsistencies in the witness's statements. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. What about dressing out? Are you prepared to go to the trial in what you're wearing?
Yeah, yes, sir. I don't have too much of a choice.
I don't either. I don't have a closet here. But you understand that it was up to you, since you represent yourself, to have those clothes up here if you wanted clothes.
Yes, sir. I didn't. It's all good.
Sir?
It's all good, Your Honor. I didn't commit the crime, so we can go to trial like this.
All right. You're still prepared to go to trial?
Yes, sir.
Let me remind you, any point in time that you wish to have an attorney appointed to represent you, I'll appoint you. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anything else? All right. We're gonna pick Mr. Lambert's case first, and we'll bring you back out to pick yours. Okay?
All right. So we fast forward about 2 hours, and we're about to pick a jury. Can you imagine a said picking a jury? Oh, this is going to be fun. All right. And I do want to make sure I call out undecided middle ground. Yeah, I'm definitely down to do the video with you, the buddy cop video. That'd be awesome. So just reach out to me. I know you're on Discord. Just reach out to me and we can set it up. That'd be awesome. That'd be a lot of fun. All right, you ready for jury selection? I did edit a lot of this out. I'll talk about that more as it's going through. But I took out a lot of the personal information of the jurors, if not all of the personal information of the jurors.
I got it. Got it? Okay.
Everyone can have a seat. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. One more. Thank you for your service today. That's exactly what you're providing.
All right, I am going to warn you a little bit. A lot of this is kind of boring, but for anyone who's never been in a jury or never seen this, it is kind of educational. You can see what the jurors go through throughout the process. So they just sat down. The judge is going to give them basic explanation. They're going to have a basic questionnaire they have to answer, and then the prosecutor and the sop sit are going to ask them questions about that. But I did edit some of this out. But let's go.
Providing to your government and to your community a service. I know all of you had somewhere else to be this morning. You got a jury summons in the mail. You put all that aside. You came down, found a parking space, made yourselves available for jury service. Thank you. Our system of justice would come to a grinding halt without citizens such as yourselves making yourself available to jury service. This is one of the rights that.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the last time I want to pause for a little bit. But yeah, because he's defending himself, he didn't have anybody to bring him close. He didn't arrange for that. And I said this a little earlier in the video that I didn't know that the defense had to arrange for clothes. I just kind of thought that the court or the jail did it. You know what? It's just one of those things I didn't know until you know. So yeah, he didn't fill out the paperwork. No one brought him clothes. So he's hanging out there in his jail uniform. Not a good look, man. Not a good look.
We have in this country that separates us from the rest of the world is that citizens sit in judgment of other citizens. With that being said, my name is Brantley Clark, and I'm one of your circuit judges of the Portland Judicial Circuit. This is the last jury I'm picking today. We're going to try this case on Friday. We should be finished in the next, a couple of hours picking the jury, and then we'll ask you to come back if you're selected the jury and try the case on Friday. If for some reason you cannot serve the rest of the day and come back on Friday as a juror, if you'll come forward with your jury summons, you can talk to me about the reason why you don't think you can serve. Yes, sir. What, you got your jury summons?
I do, it's in my pocket.
What number is it?
205.
Mr. Bouchard?
Bouchard.
Mr. Bouchard? Yes, sir.
Now, 3:45, I have an appointment today. Get stitches out.
Okay.
Other than that,
I think we'll be finished by 3:45. Yes, sir. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. What jury number?
243.
Ms. Waters?
Temple.
All right. And yes, ma'am.
I'm moving my son from here, who's autistic, to the park.
Okay.
I can do it like next week.
Okay. You won't be back by Friday?
No, because I gotta get him set up there.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to defer you. Okay.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Anyone else? All right. Before we get started, I'm going to have you all rise. And I'm going to ask the clerk to place you under oath, and then I'm going to give you one instruction. We'll begin this process. You'll all stand. Raise your right hand. Madam Clerk.
Yes.
You do solemnly swear that you will make truthful answers to all questions which shall be put to you by the court or its authority regarding your competency to serve as a juror, so help you God.
You may have a seat. In order to have a fair and lawful trial, there are rules that all jurors must follow. A basic rule is that jurors must decide the case only on the evidence presented in the courtroom. You must not communicate with anyone, including friends and family members, about this case, the people and places involved, or your jury service. You must not disclose your thoughts about this case or ask for advice on how to decide this case. I want to stress that this rule means you must not use electronic devices or cell phones to communicate about this case, including tweeting, texting, blogging, emailing, posting information on a website or chat room, or any other means at all. Do not send or accept any message to or from anyone about this case or your jury service. In addition, your cell phone or electronic device must be turned completely off while you're in the courtroom. You must not do any research, look up words, names, maps, or anything else that may have anything to do with this case. This includes reading newspapers, watching television, or using a computer, cell phone, the internet, any electronic device, or any other means at all to get information related to this case or the people and places involved in this case. This applies whether you're at the courthouse, at home, or anywhere else. All of us are depending on you to follow these rules so that there will be a fair and lawful resolution to the case. Unlike questions that you may be allowed to ask in court, which will be answered in court in the presence of the judge and the parties, if you investigate, research, or make inquiries on your own outside of the courtroom, the trial judge has no way to assure they are proper and relevant to the case. The parties likewise have no opportunity to dispute the accuracy of what you find or to provide rebuttal evidence to it. That is contrary to our judicial system, which assures every party the right to ask questions about and rebut the evidence being considered against it and to present argument with respect to that evidence. Non-court inquiries and investigations unfairly and improperly prevent the parties from having that opportunity our judicial system promises. Any juror who violates these restrictions jeopardizes the fairness of these proceedings, and a mistrial could result that would require the entire trial process to start over. And mistrial is a tremendous expense and inconvenience to the parties, the court, and the taxpayers. If you violate these rules, you may be held in contempt of court and face sanctions such as serving time in jail, paying a fine, or both. If you become aware of any of the violations of these instructions or any other instructions I give in this case, you must tell me by giving a note to the bailiff. Ladies and gentlemen, your name is called. If you'll come forward, Deputy Dexter is going to tell you where to have a seat.
184 and 204.
Over there. Okay. That's 204.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's when I fast forward. All their names were called. They moved to their seats, and then they individually asked them the basic questions. They were, have you ever been charged with a? I don't think it was. Have you ever been charged with felony? Have you ever been charged with something civilly within the last couple of years? Just like basic, like what do you do for an occupation? Do you know anybody on the jury? Do you know anybody in the court system? I just fast forward through all that. It was about an hour long. They asked every single juror these questions. We don't need to know those answers for this video to work, so I just skipped it all. And I think we're going right to the prosecutor asking questions.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. As Judge Clark said earlier, my name is Frank Sullivan. I represent the people of the state of Florida. I want to follow up with some questions from some of your answers, and I've got a few questions of my own. I assure you I am hungry, so I will try not to take up too much of your time because I know you guys have been here all morning as well. First, I see Mr. White. So you got your Gulf Coast Jam bracelet on. You have a good time this weekend?
I did, yes.
It was. I'm moving a little slowly this morning because of the weekend myself. Let's see. Several of you said you knew other jurors, Mr. Boyce, Ms. Siebert, and I think I had one other one written down, Mr. Ruxick. The reason we asked that question is, let's say, for example, that Ms. Siebert, who do you know?
Stephen Watson.
Okay, so let's say that you two both get chosen for this jury, and you go back to deliberate and you disagree on the verdict. One of you thinks one way, one of you thinks the other. Are you going to be swayed by Mr. Ruxick, or are you going to stick to your opinions? Mr. Ruxick, what about you?
I'll stick to my opinions.
Mr. Boyce, who do you know? You said you know another juror?
We used to work together. Mr. Carter.
Okay.
I don't remember you, I'm
All right.
sorry.
You'd be surprised at how often that actually happens, so it's fine. So if you two get chosen to be on the jury together, will you be able to stick to your own opinion, or would you be influenced by your prior relationship?
No influence.
Yeah.
Perfect. How many of you, who remembers, just call it out, what the defendant's charged with in this case? Does anybody remember? Call it out.
One was meth.
One was meth?
Cocaine.
Cocaine, all right. So one was meth, one was cocaine. You remember what it?
I don't know. He hasn't been on stream for a while. I interviewed him once. He hasn't been back on stream since. So I don't really know what you're asking. I don't. He was supposed to go live on his YouTube channel today, but he didn't. Yeah, that's all I know. That's all I know.
What it was with those two?
One was possession, one was trafficking.
Exactly. All right. So I want to talk about that a little bit. What is the difference between trafficking and possession? Okay. Ms. Davis, what do you think the difference is?
Possession is you just have it in your possession, the other one you're intent to sell.
Okay. Ms. Cambria, what do you think? Sorry, Ms. Cambria. Yeah.
Yeah, possession, you have it on you, whether where you are, when you get caught with it, and then trafficking to distribute or something.
Okay. Is it Roland?
Yes, sir.
What do you think?
I believe trafficking would mean he had somebody else doing the selling for him.
Okay. Does anybody else have any idea what trafficking means? The difference between trafficking and possession is? Well, I'm going to tell you that the difference is in the amount of drugs, the weight of the drugs. So in the state of Florida, trafficking can be possession. It could be selling, manufacturing, delivering, or possession. What's important is how much of that particular drug he has. So in this case, we're talking about possession of cocaine. So he's not being charged with having that threshold amount of cocaine. In the state of Florida, it requires 28 grams of cocaine. So he's charged with possessing less than 28 grams. However, the methamphetamine that the defendant had in the state of Florida to meet that trafficking threshold, it is only 14 grams. So he's accused of having at least 14 grams of methamphetamine, and that's where the difference is. Does everybody understand that trafficking can be possession? All right. So we're talking about possession in this case for both the cocaine and the methamphetamine. So I want to talk a little bit about Miss Rich. What does it mean to possess an item? Okay. So that covers two examples. So everyone agrees if you have it on your person, that's a pretty easy way to show that somebody possesses an item, right? All right. What about those situations where you don't necessarily have it on your person?
Home or car?
Okay, your home or car. Those are the examples I typically use. Everybody understand that just because you don't necessarily have an item on you doesn't mean you don't possess it. What's
Something
that?
that's registered to you.
Something that's registered to you.
Anything totally registered to you, that's not.
Okay. Mr. Bouchard, what do you think about that?
I didn't understand. As far as, if you have
Possessing items that aren't actually on your person.
like in your personal locker locked up,
Okay.
and you're the only one that has the combination to that.
Okay. That's pretty clear cut if you're the only one that's got access to it. What about Miss, is it Lankarik?
Lankarik.
What about, you said you're married?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you ever driven in the car with your spouse?
All the time.
Okay. There are items in the car?
Yes.
What about situations like that where there's multiple people in the vehicle?
That's a tricky one. I don't know if it would fall under it, whoever owns the car.
Well, let's talk about the car.
Or if it's in their pocket, then it's on that person.
Okay, absolutely. Let's talk about the car in general. Are you from a multiple vehicle household?
Yes,
Okay, so you and your spouse each have your own vehicle.
yes.
Do you ever drive your spouse's vehicle?
Rarely.
Okay, but it happens sometimes.
Mhm.
In those situations, is it fair to say that possession of that vehicle is yours sometimes? When you're driving it?
Yes, yes.
It's your spouse's?
If I'm driving it, yes.
What I'm really getting at here, my question,
If I
Miss-
brought it in the car, then it's my possession, but if it was already in there, I would assume it would, and it's his vehicle.
what I'm really getting at here, Ms. Siebert, you understand that possession of an item can be possessed by more than one person?
Yes.
Does everybody understand that? And the judge will tell you if you're chosen for this jury that possession can be joint. More than one person can possess an item. Does anybody have a problem with that? The last thing I want to talk about real briefly, how many of you have watched some type of crime TV show, whether it's true crime or it's, like a Law and Order, something that involves a courtroom setting? Show of hands. Okay, most of you. How many of you have seen some type of episode of that show where lawyers are in court and one lawyer says something and the other one jumps up real fast and yells objection? It's this big deal. It happens on TV. Why do you think, Mr. White, why do you think that happens? Why does an attorney object to something like that? Okay, that's a good reason. Mr. Fisher, what do you think?
About the whole possession of the vehicle thing or what?
Why another judge?
Oh,
Where would it go?
because a lot of times, whenever you hear that, every time I heard it, it's like hearsay stuff like that.
This is just jury selection. So no, we don't have a conclusion. The trial isn't until Friday. So hopefully it's on YouTube and I'll be able to watch it and then be able to share it with everybody. But the trial is actually on Friday, as in 3 days from now. So this is just jury selection, and this happened yesterday. This did not happen today.
So they object to stuff like that.
And I'm glad you brought that up because, so you understand that there are rules that we have to follow in court. One of those rules is the rule against hearsay. Hearsay is deemed not reliable, so it's not allowed at trial. So if I ask a question that calls for hearsay, the other party typically objects hearsay, and then that question is not allowed. Another rule today, this part of the trial, I'm not allowed to talk about the facts of the case. If you're chosen for the jury, you'll get to hear the testimony and the evidence and the facts of what actually happened. But for today's purposes, one of the rules is I'm not allowed to talk about the actual facts. So in trying this case, you all expect me to follow the rules, correct? And that means not trying to ask questions that call for hearsay because it's not allowed. And if I do, you would expect Mr. Beecham to object, right? The same applies to Mr. Beecham as well. You heard from Judge Clark earlier that Mr. Beecham has chosen to represent himself. We all understand that Mr. Beecham has to follow those same rules. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
And part of me doing my job and expecting me to follow the rules is that if Mr. Beecham breaks the rules, I need to object as well. Does everybody understand that? Yes. Is anybody going to hold it against me if I have to object a lot because Mr. Beecham either intentionally or unintentionally breaks the rules? Thank you.
Each whenever you're ready.
Yeah, that's debatable because this is in Florida. So who knows? Who knows? Could be either one. All right. So you saw the prosecutor come up. The prosecutor, basic questions, did the right thing. Now, soft sit comes up. What do you think he's gonna do? What do you think he's gonna do? I'm not gonna spoil it.
I have a question for you, ladies and gentlemen, today. How are y'all doing? I do appreciate y'all service today. Y'all heard Mr. Sullivan here talk about possession. And heard the lady say if you brought it in the car, you would that'd be yours or something of that nature. And do y'all also know about the knowledge element of possession? So as if you were in somebody else's car and you don't know what's in the car, and especially with other people in the car. So, and one other thing, y'all watching the shows about cops, criminal intent, CSI, stuff like that. Well, you know, you watch those type of shows, the cops have a duty, right? And one of their duties is to uphold the law, and especially uphold the law under truthfulness, right? Mm-hmm. And then do a proper investigation, you know, according to the law, so they can come to the truth of the matter, right? Not to just, you know, be arbitrary. I wouldn't say that, but isn't that like what you think cops are supposed to do, right? So we all can understand that. I really don't have nothing in particular for any one person. I just wanted y'all to know, like, pretty much I'm in a situation as we see, but the allegations and all that will be argued another day. And I thank you guys again.
Mr. Sullivan, any other questions?
Hang on.
Mr. Sullivan?
He didn't do anything. He came up there and said a speech and just walked away. Like, your whole thing, your whole soft sit thing is to try to tell other people that you're right. Ah, that was so disappointing. We get a 30-second speech. He probably was like, oh man, this prosecutor's good. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go up there and give a 30-second speech. I mean, come on, man. You're selecting a jury.
Mr. Beecham, when you're both ready, you can come forward, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Beecham, if you want, you can take your time there. If you want to go over your notes, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. You just let me know when you're ready. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to turn around and turn my back to you and bend over. I'm not being disrespectful. That's the only way I can hear Mr. Sullivan and Mr. Beecham, so I apologize for the view, but that's what I have to do. I apologize.
All right, I didn't cut this out. They're actually picking the jury right now. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. I think we're going to be right on time for Biggin. We're going to be right on time for Biggin. Yeah, for everyone who joined late, we are rating Biggin after this because he raids me a lot and never rate him back. So
197. I'm telling.
Yeah. All right, we're good. We're good.
Ladies and gentlemen, if your name is called, if you'll leave your questionnaire in your chair and have a seat back in the courtroom. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Juror number 87.
All right, we don't need to hear their names. I'm going to fast forward a little bit more. I thought I cut that out.
95, Shepard Spurlock.
But you put all that aside because you had a jury, got a jury summons in the mail. And I'm serious when I say this. This is what separates to the jurors in the courtroom before you rush out of here. That concludes your jury service for this week. Thank you for your service. I know every one of you had somewhere else to be today, but you put all that aside because you had a jury, got a jury summons in the mail. And I'm serious when I say this. This is what separates us from the rest of the world, is that we have citizens that come in here and make themselves available for jury service. With that being said, you have my thanks, and you're free to go about your day. Remember to have get all your personal belongings, and you're free to leave the courthouse and enjoy the rest of your week. Ladies and gentlemen, elected, that have been selected, we're going to try this case on Friday. We're going to start the trial at 9 o'clock. I would ask you to be back at the courthouse no later than.
Then I'm going to inception you crazy because I'm still going live at 8. I just wanted to raid Biggin for once, and now after fast forwarding that last part, I timed it perfectly to jump into his channel 1 minute after he started. But he doesn't start for 6 minutes, and there's only 1 minute left of this video. So I'm going to have to play something else. I don't have a 5-minute clip. Maybe I'll just tease my video for tonight so you can see like a small piece of it. Or we can just talk for 5 minutes. I don't know. You guys tell me what you want, but there's only about a minute left of this video. I fast forwarded way too much.
8:45 on Friday, and I believe that's June 7th. Have a seat in the lobby where you enter the courthouse. Remain there. All of you remain there until all of you are together, until you're escorted to this courtroom by the Bay County Sheriff's Office. Do not discuss this case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. Don't check any media sources such as the radio, television, newspaper, or use your electronic devices to find out any more about the case than you know right now. If you see Mr. Sullivan and Mr. Beecham, they'll do everything they can to avoid you. They're not being rude. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and that's to avoid you until the jury trial. With that being said, if you'll follow the clerk out in the back, she'll get your contact information. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. If people have questions, I'll answer questions. We have 5 minutes to kill. Legal fiction. Thank you so much. Take more pauses. Yeah, I feel like I paused it a lot during that video. It's an hour. I underestimated. I believe it was a 54-minute video, and I thought that I would talk for 15 minutes. Is generally how I do my math is 45 minutes turns into 15 minutes of talking. So a 45-minute video turns into 15 minutes of talking. This was a 52-minute video. I thought I could talk for 15 minutes, but I fast forwarded a lot of this video. So yeah. Anyways, thank you so much, Legal Fiction.
See you back Friday morning at 8:45.
Yeah, we absolutely. This actually might actually turn in. I need to stop saying actually. Yeah, so because he's defending himself, he didn't have anybody fill out, or bring him clothes. So, and I said this earlier, I didn't know it was the defense attorney's job to, make sure that your defendant had clothes. I didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense. I just didn't know it. And he's representing himself. So nobody on his behalf made sure he had clothes. That's why he's still wearing his jail uniform, whatever you want to call it. Legal fiction. Take time with the super chat. See, I even added an extra word there. Take time with super chats. And I am not an attorney yet. I am taking the LSAT soon, though. This will be fun. All right. Okay, Colin, question. How often or how many times can a person be required for jury duty? I have a cousin who's been called 5 times. I don't think there's a limit. I think it's just a lottery, right? I think it's just a lottery. So your cousin's just the luckiest person for wherever they live, whatever jurisdiction they live in, that they've been called. I don't think there's a limit. I've been called twice in my life. I only served once. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a limit. Maybe after you serve, they take your name out for a year and then they put it back in. I have no idea. I'm just making stuff up. No idea. It would be weird to get called for jury duty and then called right back like a month later, though. So, yeah, there's probably some rules there, but I have no idea. No idea. What else we got? Let's see. What do we got? We have 2 minutes. So, yeah, I'm not going to tease the video for tonight. Undecided middle ground. Yep, they'll expect the defense lawyer to provide it. Or okay. So yeah, I didn't know that. So that Judge Clark brought it up, I think, at least 3 times, or let's say at least 2 times, probably 3 or 4 times. He brought it up multiple times. No limit. Okay, no limit on jury service, jury duty. You've been called one time. That was 15 years ago. Yeah, the first time I got called on. It was January 2nd, the year after I got married. Now I'm divorced now, but January 2nd, and I actually got a letter from at the time I was working at a restaurant, and the restaurant owner wrote me a letter, and I submitted it. I'm just like, hey, you're taking away a manager during, one of our busiest seasons of the year, and they excused me. I didn't have to go in. But then the second time, once I moved up here, I went in and I served. I did 2 DUI cases in the same day. It was interesting. It was interesting. Oh, you know what? Did he just start? Did he just start? Sanity awaits. Thank you so much for the 4 months. Thank you so much, Sanity awaits. It's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. But I think he just started, so we can all go over there now. So I'm just kind of fast forwarding. I'm gonna check. Did he start? Can someone confirm that he actually started? Because I don't want to send everyone over there and he's a little late. He's live. Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to end it. We're going to go right big in. And then you know what? Right back at 8 o'clock. I have my normal live tonight at 8. I just want to get this one out. It was a good one. And it was too long to do a premiere. I didn't want to record voiceover. So I just, you know what? Screw it. We'll just do it live in the middle of the day and right big in. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for the super chats, membership milestones, and the gifted members. Thank you so much, everybody. And let's go hang out with Biggin for a couple hours. And then right back to me. Yeah, sorry. Inception. Inception's real tonight. All right. Until next time. Bye.
Thank you. Everyone can have a seat. Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Beecham, is there anything we need to wait and put on the record when the clerk gets back? Or are we free to go? All right, Mr. Beecham. All right, we'll see you Friday morning. Thank you, both of you, for a well-selected jury process.
What do you want, Phil?